Welcome back. So now we've seen how we can now we've seen how we can change the width of the bar or plot the bar chart. Now let's see how we can change the height of the bar chart. Now it's similar to that of the width. Let me quickly copy that and then let me copy that and let me paste it here. Okay, now if you want to change the height, all what we need to do is to change this to height. Okay, and let's run this. Um, got multiple value for argument heights. Okay. There is no multiple value for the argument height here. We don't have a multiple value there for the height. We just have the single value there for the height. Right. Okay, since we are dealing with the heights, this is horizontal bar chart. Okay, that's the horizontal bar chart. So if we want to reduce the height, let's say 0.2. That no, this affects the width of the chart. This affects the width of the chart. Okay, so we can also increase the width. We can also increase the height of the chart. You can see the height. Okay. Also, we can also plot the histogram chart using the Matplot library of Python. It helps us to plot the histogram chart. The histogram chart also used to show the distribution of our data set. Especially, it helps also to display if the data set is normally distributed or not. Now, in order to use the histogram chart, in order to plot the histogram chart, we'll make use of the hist function in Python. Make use of the hist function in Python. Recall that to plot the bar chart, we make use of the bar function, the bar h function in that's the vertical bar chart and the horizontal bar chart. Why the horizontal bar chart is by default the bar plus. So in order to plot the bar chart in Python, you make use of the bar function that we'll use. In order to plot the histogram chart, we make use of the hist function in Python. So each function is used as an array of number. Now it will use an array of number to create the histogram chart. Okay, all this while we'll be using so let's see how we can use this histogram chart. But before then, let's try importing a chart into Python. Okay, let's start from the let's rather type. Let's start afresh. Let's start afresh. Import okay, let's import numpy as np. Now you know that the numpy is used for generating random number. Then we can also say import the matplots library, that matplotlib as the matplotlib as the matplotlib as plotplots those 5 plots as plights, and now this is used for plotting the chart. Why this is used for generating random numbers? So import numpy as np. Okay, now we've already done that. Now what we're going to do now, we're going to import, we're going to generate a random number. So let's try generating a random number. Let's say x equals to np dot we want to generate a random number. So we already say import numpy as np. It's a random dot number. Okay, np dot random dot number. Now we need a random number of, let's say, 100 with size 10, and then let's see, 200. Then we're going to use the random number to we're going to use the random number to plot the chart, so we can see fly. We're going to use random number to plot the chart. So we're going to use the histogram function, the hist function. Okay, apply does that, and then we are going to do okay. Now this is x. So once a random number is generated, Python is going to use once a random number is generated using the numpy. If we generate a random number, then we use the matplot to plot the charts. Let's just give this a try and let's see what this is gonna give to us. Now you can see that we've generated a random number, an histogram based on that particular, we've generated the histogram there. So that we can also get a random number. We can also get an array. We can generate and we can use numpy to create an array. And then we use numpy to create an array. And then we can say np dot np array. Let's create an array of numbers. Okay, now I want to create an array of numbers. So I can decide, let me see, let me say 10, 30, 30, 50, 80. Okay, now dot pie. Okay, let's plot the pie chart. Yeah. Let's plot the pie chart. Take from 1 to 2 positional argument, but 4 we're giving. Okay, 1, 2, position element, 1, 2, 3, 4. Apply the shoe. Okay, yes. By creating an array. Okay, now that creates a pie chart. Now this creates a pie chart. And you can see that this actually creates a pie chart. This creates a pie chart. So let's so as you can see from the pie chart, that is drawn from one piece. For each value in the array, each value got a value, and then you can see the plotting starts from 10 to 30, and then okay, we can see then 80 is the biggest, um, followed by 50, followed by 30. Okay, you can see this is done in anti-clockwise, the 10, the 30, the 50, and the 80. So it's done anti-clockwise. So, okay, we take note of that, this actually use the anti-clockwise. It move counterclockwise. That is how the Python plots the pie chart. Now we can also use labels in a pie chart. We can add labels to a pie chart. In case we want to give them label, we can just use label to that. So we can, after having done this, we can say labels. Okay, we can just say label with I want to use label to it, and then we just add this. We can call this. Okay, let's say let's call this hospital. Okay, let's call it. Okay, let's call it hospital. Let's call this church. Let's call this school. And then let's call this okay. So let's call this supermarket. But now let's try changing this to let's call this like location. Okay, let's call that location. Then here we said apply.I, comma. So use the label argument. We pass the label argument into that, and then we have the label argument known as location. Okay, our label argument known as location. We pass the label argument known as locations there, so that we're able to. So now let's try running this and see. Okay, labels must be of length X, not 8. Explosive. Okay, label must be of length X. X. Label must be of length X, and not 8. Okay. 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 You can direct where the Python should start. You can tell Python where to start you can include the start location. You can include the start angle as the start angle can also include it as part of the arguments in the function. You can tell Python to start the argument from a particular location. Now, you can see that this goes this way anti-clockwise. Now, this is 0, and this is 90. This is like 180 and 270. So if I just start angle at 90, then instead of Python starting off speed, which is 10, at here, Python will start it at something around around this point. You can see hospital starts around the point because I instruct Python starts hospital at 90 degree. Now, what you want to tell Python, because by default, Python starts hospital from this location, which is like 0, the starting point. So if either you put 0 or there is nothing there by default, Python is going to start it from that particular point. Now hospital starts here. But when I tell Python, oh, do it 90 degree or 70 degree, Python is going to do it that way. Also, if you want any of those pie charts to stand out, for instance, if you want the supermarket to stand out, we use the explosive argument. So we include the explosive argument inside the so we could add, let me say, stand out. We want that to stand out among the others. So we could have something like, let's say, 0.3. Then the rest should be 0, 0, 0. Okay. Okay. Now I want the first one to stand out. That is 10 will stand out now. But if I should want that of supermarket to stand out, you can see 10 is hospital. That's the smallest. That's 10 is going to stand up. But I want the supermarket to stand out. I have to make it 0.3 here. Let's just try this and let's see what we are going to get with this. We have to include it in the argument. Explosive. We have to include that in the argument. Okay. Then we copy this and paste it here. We can see that hospital stands out. Now, if I want the supermarket to stand out at 0.3, Huh? You can see both the supermarket and the hospital stands out. Now, if I'm only interested in making just the, I'm just interested in just making one of them to stand out. That is a supermarket. You can see the supermarket stands out. Now, because I make use of 0.3, you can see the space. So I can decide to reduce it to be 0.1, and now you can see the space that how it stands out. Okay. The closer it is to the main pie chart. So that way we can use the explosive argument. That is what I used. The explosive argument. Also, we can add a shadow to our pie chart um by including the shadow arguments in the pie chart. We could just come to this point and say shadow. Okay, and then we come here to say true, and we run this. Now you can see that there, you can see shadow, you can see shadow, you can see shadow, you can see shadow. Now we can see shadow, you can see shadow there, you can see shadow there. So now we can also add colors to our pie charts. We can also add colors. We can add colors to our pie chart. Let's just make this Y label so we know what it is. Now I've changed this to Y label. Let me remove all those. Yeah, no. So what I want to add now is the color. So first and foremost, let's use here. Let's call that color. Hmm? Let's say white color. Hmm. So let's call this the first let's say green. Um let's say red. Let's say pink. Let's say purple. Okay, we can also use the numerical. Okay, now we can use the label. Then let's use the argument here. The colors with X, with S, then we decide to call us as white color. Decide to call our white color. Okay, let's run this and let's see. Okay, that gives us the color for each of them. Okay, you can see the pink. Let's try using this. Let's see. So in Matplot, you can use a lot of colors. You can use the red, you can use the green, and you can use the yellow. You can use the white. You can use black. Black is represented by K. When you use black is represented by K. When we use something like this, K, that stands for black. So you can use a lot of colors, and each color has their abbreviation. You can use the abbreviations alongside. Also, you can also have what we call the legends. You want to place the legends in your, or what you need to do, you need to just put apply the legends. Apply dot legends. Okay, and we run this. Now you can see that's the legend, hospital, church, school, and supermarket. So then we can also use the legend with a header. We can use the legends with a header. So that means we can pass an argument in this legend. Can pass an argument here. Can just pass that title equals to bringing up the locations. Okay, title equals to locations. Those are locations. So this brings us to the end of our training. Thank you very much. Till I see you next time. This brings us to the end of our training. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the training. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you. We'll meet next time.